What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over part 2 of the sales framework. Again, not mine. Bill Wall, shout out to him. If you didn't watch the last video, I'll link it up here. But essentially where we left off was the entire framework. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it now. Part 2 is going to be about objection handling, and there are a couple things that you need to get clear about objection handling so that you can close more deals. And this video, when you walk away from it, it actually works. Basically, a couple things with objection handling is there's usually three phases when it comes to this. First phase is, well, we'll actually say four. We'll say four. Something called pre-handling objections. And then the second thing is when you get to objection handling. So this is going to be before you get to objection handling. Second thing is isolating, confirming, and then objection, and then the actual objection handle itself. Now, what pre-handling objections is when you're on the call, or on even before the call, even on the form, you can pre-handle some objections. You can get some possible objections out the way. Let me move this. You can get some possible objections out the way before you actually get to the objection handling, so that by the time you state the price, they have nothing to say, and that makes closing a lot easier. You're going to close at a higher percentage because you've already handled what they're going to say. So an example of pre-handling an objection would be, in your current situation, when you're asking your questions, getting to know them, you can casually ask questions like, if you're uncertain about them being able to afford the program, just ask them about what do you do, what's your current situation, do they go to work, what kind of work do they do, how long have they been working there for, are they a student, stuff like that. And then that basically is going to indirectly pre-handle the money objection, because if they say they've been working a 9 to 5 for a couple of years now, and they said earlier that they've got savings and they've been stacking up and it's a high paying job, then they can't really say no to the money objection. So unless for other reasons, which you can uncover. So asking questions is a great way to pre-handle objections, or the type of questions that you asked, but also the questions on your form, or how your form is. Basically, if you're getting really, really picky, if you're at a point where you can afford to be picky, which is when you're making a ton of money and you're booking a ton of calls, where you have to, kind of filter out who's a good fit and who isn't, then sure, you can start getting really, really strict with the form questions and in the qualification process. So another example, same thing with the money. If they say, let's say they have a tick box of, or you have a tick box of, what is their budget? And then if it's below the desired budget, then you can cancel the call. But again, you can only do that if you are making money and you're booking a ton of calls. Don't do it in the beginning because you don't have that privilege yet. Second thing is isolating the objection. So ensuring that, okay, is this the only objection that you have? If not, then you go handle the other ones before this one. Because what this does is, if you don't isolate, everything here has a reason to be here. If you don't isolate the objection, then you're going to be running around in circles. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute when we start getting into the actual objection handles. Confirming that, confirming is making sure that that's the only objection that they have. Isolating is, getting clarity. Okay, is this what, I'll go to the questions. I'll go to the objection handling, and you'll see what it means. And then this is self-explanatory. So by now you should be here. You stated the price and they haven't moved forward. They have an objection. So this is what you do. There's usually 3 objections, and actually not usually. There are always 3 types of objections. Excuse me. I don't know where my head's at today. I don't know why I can't speak as well right now, but it's all good. 3 types of objections. It's usually money, partner, or logistics. I think I have it written down actually. Okay, so something like this. This is from Hormozy. Circumstances others, and self. Yeah, that's much better. So here. It's right. Okay, it's right here. So disarming, totally understand. Yeah, makes sense. No worries, because at this moment in time, it's going to be very tense. So we want to kind of disarm the tension, ease the tension, and that's also going to help them move forward, because they're not as tense. They're kind of more comfortable around you, and they're willing to make a decision. So that's why I say disarming is super important. And then isolating, as explained already, you just make sure, okay, is that the actual objection here, or is there something beneath the surface? And then 3 is handling accordingly. Let's actually go through these notes. I don't know why I have the whiteboard, but these are the three types of objections. There are also things such as smoke screens. Then the most notorious one being, I need to think, sleep, or pray about it. That's not a real objection. There's a reason they say that. It's just they want to say it in a different way. They want to indirectly say it in a different way. And your job as a salesperson or a closer is to find out what that is. Our job is not to make the person say yes. Our job is to ask the right questions so the prospect wants to say yes, to build them courage to say yes. So shitty salespeople want to overcome objections so they get paid, and elite sales professionals overcome objections so they can lead a prospect to a better life. So at the end of the day, sales is a life-changing skill, not just for you, but for the person, because they're on the phone with you and they're about to make a potentially life-changing decision. And your job there is not to be thinking about the commission. Yes, that's great. That's the side effect. That's a benefit. But at the end of the day here, you have to make it all about the prospect, because this is a big decision for them, or maybe not, but it has the potential to change the trajectory of their next couple of years. So you want to put their best interest first. And as it says here, you want to build them the courage to say yes. So this isn't malicious manipulation. This is building them courage. This is asking questions and getting them to just look in the mirror and see, like, their current situation is not the place to be. They need to move. And yeah, you can lead the prospect to a better life, as I said. But anyways, let's get back to the framework. Let's actually handle some objections. So the most notorious one, as I said, is the think about it objection. So you just be like, and again, this is a smokescreen. It's not a real objection, because it's what you're looking for here is to get past this, get them from saying I'm thinking about it to one of these three, to one of these actual real objections. So they say, yeah, that sounds good. I like the price. I just need to think about it. And they'll say that, and you just be like, yeah, that's entirely cool. You know, can I ask in your opinion before you go to think / sleep on or pray about this? Like, do you actually truly feel this can get you to XYZ, aka the goal? So if it's weight loss, just like the first video example, you know, do you truly feel like this can get you to lose the weight that you've been holding on for so long, or how do you feel? And then they'll say, hopefully, if you've done everything right up until this point, they'll say yes. They'll say, yes, I do feel like this will help me. And then in that case, you ask them, you get them to almost prove themselves to you, like get them to qualify themselves to you, but generally just knowing why it can help, like why they think it can help. So you just ask, like, okay, sounds good, like, yeah, just out of curiosity, like, why do you feel it can? Like, what about so far that you've heard makes you feel like it'll help you lose that weight? And then they'll tell you, give you reason. Again, they're buying more and more into you. So then you say, okay, sounds good. Like, so can I ask, when you do go and think about this, like, what's coming up for you that makes you want to go and think about it, you know, just to see if I can help with it? And now they can't say, I need to think about it again, because you just asked them to clarify exactly what they need to think about. And you've also isolated as well that they're bought into the program. If they said no, then you need to do some work there. But if they said yes, okay, cool. They're bought into the program. Sounds good. You've done the sales process 80% right, but they just need to think about it. But now what you're doing is you're backing them into a corner and getting them to give you one of these objections, which is good, which is a good thing, because these are actual objections. If they keep saying, think about it, if they keep saying, like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm just like, I like what I heard, but again, I just need to go and think about it, and I'll get back to you in a couple of days. So you just keep If they keep saying that, then you keep saying it, but just say it in a different way, because then you're gonna sound like annoying. So if they say that, just be like, yeah, of course, but like, what specifically makes you want to go think about it? Just to see if I can help you get some clarity on that, because you said you like what you heard, you think it can help you, but I'm just curious, like, what is it exactly that you think is missing that makes you want to go think about it? And then hopefully after a couple times they'll actually tell you. So now we land here. We either get a circumstantial objection, so either time, money, or fit. We get an others objection, which is spouse or business partner, and then we get self, which is fear. So let's start with time. Let's go in order. Okay, buckle up, guys. I don't know how long this video is going to go, but hopefully not too long, but I want to get through this. So time objection handling. So when people say things like, oh, it's not the right time, I don't think it's the right time, I don't think I have enough time, this is a time objection. So you're going to get a couple different versions of this. You're going to get something called macro. So things like not right now, we're busy this month. It's a seasonal type of time. So let's say there's a student on the other side, they're studying and they've got exams, they've got finals very, very soon, and then they might throw this at you. So you say, okay, I understand. Like, let me just ask you a question. Like, do you, based on everything we talked about so far, do you want this to be something that lasts long term? So if it's to lose weight, do you want to actually cut the weight and actually keep it that way for a long time? Do you actually want this to be something long term? If it's business, then you know what to say. And then they'll say yes. Like, who wouldn't say yes? Gotcha. And then, do you think you'll be busy again in the future? Like, I know right now you got finals coming up like next week, but let me ask you this, like, do you think in the future there's a real possibility you'll be busy again? And then they'll say yes, because everyone gets busy. Everyone and their mom gets busy. We always say we're busy, therefore it's going to happen again. And then they'll be like, yeah, of course. And you'd be like, yeah, exactly. Like, so wouldn't now be the best time to start? Because if you think about it, when you learn how to, for example, lose weight, when you learn the steps and you actually know how to lose the weight while you're busy, you'll be able to do it forever, especially when you're provided with the most support. So what I'm trying to say here, so this is basically what this is saying is, if you know how to get X result, if you know how to get the result, even if you're busy, even if everything's chaotic at the moment and you still manage to do it, come time when it's not busy and everything's peaceful, all of this has subsided, you will be absolutely unstoppable. That's what it means, if it makes sense. So another perspective on this is, you say, yeah, however, when you only do it during perfect circumstances, chances are you're going to fall off when you're busy again, because you're not used to doing it while you're busy. Does that make sense? And then you're checking in with them, you're making sure they get it as well, and then be like, yeah, when you put it like that, that does make sense. Like, if I know how to lose the weight, even when I'm studying for finals next week, then when it's not busy, when it's summer break, then I have way more time and I'll have way more results. That's the type of conclusion, those are the type of conclusions you want them to be coming to. So I hope that makes sense. If you're confused about anything, just rewind this video, or rewind to this part, or rewind to any objections and just rewatch it. Or if you're confused, just comment it down below. And then you're going to get something called a micro time objection, so hour by hour, saying, I don't have a lot of time during my day. People who work 9 to 5, they'll say this a lot, like, oh, I've got a 9 to 5 as well, like, I'm not going to have a lot of time to commit to this. And here, again, you handle it accordingly. Now, with objection handling, what's really good is if you can relate, if you can bring your own perspective or your own story into it, because now it just shows you're not there for the commission, you're there to actually show them, here's my experience, this is what's happened for me, this is what I've learned, and I hope you find it valuable, and I hope it gives you another perspective. Like, for example, this one, tell you a little story. So Alex Ramosi had an example, I kind of had my own example, so I'd just be like, yeah, I'll tell you, is it cool if I tell the story? So I used to actually say the same thing, so you're definitely not alone. I mean, I used to be a student myself. I was studying a lot and had to go to classes. I got a lot of commitments, right? But then a couple months ago, I had an accountability partner, and this is my story, don't copy it. A couple months ago, I had an accountability partner with a good friend of mine, and he's also in this entrepreneurship space. And every time I didn't get something done, I blamed it on not having enough time. And one day he heard this. I messaged him this, and he was like, "Look, dude, open up your phone, show me your screen time." Turns out it was 6 hours daily. It was 6 hours plus daily. Like, I was on my phone for that amount of time, and I didn't even know it, which is crazy. And it just goes to show that I did have the time. So with that revelation, I decided to be a bit more focused with where I spend my time. So less time on the phone, less time on social media, and now I have more time than ever to actually commit to what I need to do. So let me ask you this: like, do you think there are people on Earth with less time than you, but they're still doing X, Y, Z? And then they'll say yes. Exactly. You know, everyone has the same 24 hours, but the key here is not adding more stuff to your plate. It's about trimming the fat and allocating your time on the right things. Now, I sound really scripted right now, but that's just because I'm trying to run through this properly. Hopefully when you do it, you're not as scripted. It just flows out like a conversation. But yeah, it's just about trimming the fat and putting your time on the right things. You know, if you heard of the 80-20 rule, you essentially focus on the things that bring you 80% of the results. You focus on the few tasks that get you the most results. So one of the things we'll focus on together is cutting out 90% of the stuff that's not working. And then we're going to focus on the things that actually move the needle for you. So even if you've got finals, even if you've got a really, really, really busy schedule, you can still get the result regardless. So there's no excuses there. Does that make sense? And that should be handled. Now let's move on to money. And here's a video breakdown. You can watch that in your own time. But money is really simple. I find this to be the easiest for me just because I think I've practiced this the most. But there's a difference between money objection, a logistical money objection, and a value money objection or an emotional money objection. So with the emotional money objection, they'll say they don't have the money, but really they don't see the value in your program. If that's the case, do not run through this. Actually, there is a handle for this as well, but we'll go through that. But with the emotional money objection, they just don't see the value in it. That's why they say things like, "Oh, I didn't expect this price tag," or "Oh, this is too expensive for me," or "This is out of my budget," because they don't see the value. Now, if they've made it clear they do see the value and they're bored and they're invested, but it's literally just the money, like maybe they only have a couple hundred in the bank, or maybe their finances are caught up in crypto, literally just logistically it's the money, they can't make it happen, then you go through this. Again, this is isolating, this first part is isolating the objection. So, okay, so would it be fair to say you love the program, you think it'll work for you, but it's literally just an issue of, you know, having the capital to make it happen, right? And I put here, if they give uncertainty / no, then go to fear objection handling. So we'll go to that in a minute. But let's just assume they just can't make it happen right now because of the finances. So then they'll say, yeah, it's just I don't have the finances. And you'd be like, yeah, so theoretically, bro, if you had the cash, like, would you be in today? Just making sure. And then they'll say yes. Okay. Like, why would you do it though? I'm just curious. And then again, self-justifying if necessary, why they'd want to move forward. Gets them to sell themselves to you, and leads to a lot of good things. And then you just be like, gotcha, man. I mean, gotcha name. So here's the thing. Like, we're really huge on fit. And if we can get someone that's a good fit, which isn't very often, you know, it's hard to imagine how many calls like these I'm on every single day. Like, I'm on these 24/7. So if I do come across someone who's actually a good fit, you know, I feel like it's my moral obligation to do everything I can to get them in the program. You know, you're an amazing fit. You know, we get people on the calls who are, you know, too scared to invest in themselves. They're lazy, and then just disqualify anyone and everyone. Just disqualify them, and then qualify them. If that makes sense. You're kind of singling them out, like making them feel special in a way. I don't know what else to put it. And only say this if they are actually a good fit. You know, again, this is not manipulation. Just actually be genuine about it. If they are a good fit, and you know, then say this. Give them reasons why they're a good fit, like why they'd succeed. Because a big part of sales is getting them to believe that they can do it themselves. That not they can do it themselves, but they can do it. They just need the right guidance, or they just need the right mentor. Like that. And then you just be like, yeah, like, you're not like those people. You know, I actually believe you can get this result. So what I don't want to have happen, bro, is, you know, you hop off the call, you let money stop you from getting what you want, and 2 to 3 years from now, you're still stuck in the same position. Because I was there before, I know what it feels like, it sucks. So, you know what, man, let's do something here. And I don't really do this, but let's work something out. And then this is where you work out like a payment plan, or, yeah, some sort of payment plan, or some split payment, doesn't matter. So you're there, same side of the table, working it out. Okay, what's your expenses? What's your income? How much is in the savings, etc., etc. Once you, and provided you've built enough rapport, they'd be actually be comfortable telling you this. So you work it out, and then you just be like, look, dude, if I were to do this, like, would you say yes today? You don't just go, okay, let's do this. Let's do 1,000 now, and then 1,000 later. Don't do that. Raise a hypothetical first before actually pitching it. So if I were to do this, would this be something that would this be possible? And then if they say yes, now you can pitch it. You can be like, okay, let's do it then. Let's go. Let's do 1,000 now, 1,000 later. Move forward, send invoice. And then if it's a no, then you just ask again, okay, why not? Because you said you think this could work for you. You know, the finances work out, and we agreed you're a good fit. But is there something you're not telling me? That's when you move on to the fear, because now they made it clear there's still some uncertainty. And we'll go to the fear in the end. And I don't know how long that's going to take. That's the longest objection handle, but whatever. Fit. Objection handling. So things like, I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if the program's for me. Listen, I don't know if I'm the type of person to be doing this. Stuff like that. So here's my example. This is the one I'm least comfortable with, I'll be honest, because I haven't practiced it much. But you just be like, if they say, I don't know if it's for me, that's when you pitch in your own story. Because I think that's the best thing to do here. So this is my story. I just talk about how when I was 10, I used to love magic cards. I used to love magic tricks. I used to buy like playing cards like these, and do magic because that's what I loved learning. It was my passion at the time. And then when I was 15, just starting to get into business, that's when I bought my first course. And then I could have spent that stuff on other things, especially at my age, but I chose not to. So right now, you are in the same boat too, unknowingly. You know, as humans, we spend time and money on the things we prioritize and value the most. People who want to be rich spend money on themselves. They spend it on skills. They spend it on getting into masterminds, building the network, and investments. But the question is, like what do you value the most? Like, what do you value the most here? And they tell you, hopefully it's this, like, they want to be rich or they want to lose weight, which is why they're on the call. So, do you want to keep being the person that values current situation or shift into a new identity and value their goal so you can be at XYZ result? So what I'm trying to say here is essentially where you put your money is a big indicator on what you value the most. If you're spending it on courses, you're spending it on self-education, aka knowledge and getting rich. That's what you value on self-improvement. If you spend a ton of your money on Chinese takeaway, on buffets, on food, guess what? I think you love food, is what I'm trying to say. So that's how you handle it. I don't know if I did that well, but let's just keep it moving. If they say I don't know if the program's for me, like it's not a good. I don't know if it's the right fit for me. You just be like, okay. I mean, no worries. If this program had everything you needed, if this program had everything you needed, like, would you invest in it? So if it had everything, would you move forward? Say yes. Ask them what's missing. So if you added that piece or focused especially on XYZ, would you be in? And then hopefully they say yes, and then you ask to move forward. So here, you obviously be smart. Like if they say they want to add something completely irrelevant or different, then maybe not go with this. But if, let's say in the pitch, you missed out on accountability, and they really, really value accountability. So if we focused on accountability, man, if we focused on getting you in the right route in our group and connecting you with other like-minded people, if we focused on that, especially in these next couple months, like, would you be in? And then they'll say yes. So that's the fit objection. Let's move on to, oh shoot, we're coming up to 25 minutes. Let's do, you know what? Unfortunately, guys, I don't want this to run too long. Yeah, I don't want this to run too long. I will do these ones in a separate video. Trust me, this is going to be the last part. Part 3 is going to be partner and fear objection handling, because I just don't want this to get too long. I realized I talked a lot and blabbered a lot, but we're going to cover this, don't worry. We're going to cover partner and fear objection handling, so just stay tuned for that. But so far, we've covered the majority of it, honestly. The time, money, fit, partner. Oh, time, money, and fit. Now we just need to do partner and fear. So don't just go yet. Watch out for part 3, where I will do these two. But in the meantime, I hope this helped. I hope, and I'm a bit rusty as well. I haven't taken a sales call in a long time, but I hope this helps because I got a lot of love from the first one. So that's objection handling for you guys. That's part 1 out of 2 of objection handling, but this is part 2 of the sales framework. But again, if you are stuck, if you're not sure about sales, go to this guy's Facebook group, because he actually has, oh shoot, I'm actually in it. He actually has video breakdowns of all these objections, and these are his, so he knows what he's talking about. It's called The Objection Box by Bill Walsh. Join this group, go to guides, and then it's going to have the video breakdowns. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you are serious about getting into high ticket closing or appointment setting, leaving the rat race, escaping the matrix. If you're a student, if you're broke, and you know there's more for you than going to school, getting a job, and retiring, like, look a call down below. Let's see if you're a good fit. And worst case scenario, you walk away with a ton of insight, a ton of value and clarity. But I don't want to drag this out for too long. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.